Hey, what's up everybody and welcome to Hack My Growth. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about keywords and more importantly, are they still relevant in today's world when it comes to SEO? All right, let's go. Hey, what's up? If this is your first time watching, please hit the subscribe button below. We'd love to have you as part of our community. So today we're talking about keywords and more importantly, keyword research, ranking. Do they still apply today when it comes to SEO and trying to grow your visibility online, and where does this all fit in the age of semantic search? You know, we hear terms like AI, machine learning, natural language processing, and people start to throw out assumptions without ever really understanding what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to search, when it comes to Google, when it comes to our content. You can write all the content in the world that you want, but if it's poorly written, it doesn't have the right context, you're not authoritative or trustworthy or even relevant to your audience, you're not going to rank, you're not going to drive traffic. And rank still matters, maybe not in the same way. And it's not, you shouldn't be obsessive about rank, but rank tells a story. We can learn something from where our page is at. And though it may fluctuate more often than it used to, and there's a lot of different factors in it, doesn't mean it's irrelevant to SEO, content marketing, digital marketing strategies as a whole. It still plays a role, and it's really helpful for us to see in a tangible way if what we're doing is actually working. So how do keywords work, and how is Google really understanding this when it comes to what we call semantic search? So the difference between old search and new search is this thing called semantics. And it's not the way that we, looking at it's purely an English way, like the semantics of the way a sentence is written, but it's a little bit more related in the realm of database architecture and Google moving from what they would call a string to a thing. So basically what we want to do is think of Google as this giant database. Here's their knowledge graph, right? This is everything they know about the world. This is all the content that they've crawled, all the websites that they've indexed. This is all the information that they've gathered over their existence. And they're using this knowledge to then deliver the best results possible. Now, in the past, we would have, a piece of content, right? So we've got a page and we've got our keyword in our title, keyword in our tags, and then throughout the content. Now, we used to have this thing we talked about called keyword density, right? And you want to make sure you're in the right keyword density, 3% keyword density, don't keyword stuff, blah, blah, blah. That was being talked about all the time. The reality is keyword density is something that Google's never used. Google has never actually said, okay, what's the keyword density of this page? They've never used that. What they've actually used is something called TF-IDF. And this is a process in natural language processing where it looks at a term frequency and then it compares that to other documents that have similar or related terms to see how relevant that piece of content is. So it's looking at these terms, maybe it's a keyword or a related term to that keyword, and it's showing how often is this showing up on this page. And now let's look at other documents that are seen as credible and authoritative and relevant. How often is this term being used? And then it's got this algorithm or this math equation that's built out, which has logarithmic in it, and we're not going to talk about that because I don't want you to fall asleep yet, that determines how relevant this content is within the right context. So what Google's doing is leveraging a massive amount of knowledge that they've got over here when they crawl a page to understand its context and understand where it fits. Now, keywords are important because it helps Google understand the context, and we want to write them as naturally as possible, and we want to use what we call latent semantic indexing, or LSI keywords, which are related keywords or similar keywords, or where you've got inbound, but Google also understands that inbound marketing encompasses digital content marketing, SEO, social media marketing. It's all part of the same strategy. They'll coexist together. Those are all relevant terms, and it's going to start weighing those against pieces of content. The reason I believe that keywords are still important is keywords kind of give us a focus. And the reality is today's search, we want to focus on three things. We want to be authoritative, we want to be relevant, and we want to be trustworthy. We want to be trusted. Now, authority, we get links, right? Links are really helpful in our authority. but also where those links are coming from. We know that the importance of backlinks. It's still important to have backlinks, but they help build a site's authority. If we have authoritative sites pointed to us, we're seen as more authoritative as well, or at least perceived that way. We get some of that link equity passed to us. Relevant. This is where keywords come in. This is why keyword research is still important. People still use keywords. Yes, voice search is on the rise, but in the B2B world, it's still mainly desktop. I mean, predominantly desktop users in the B2B space. Go check your Google Analytics. All the time I see this. It's like 85 to 90% of B2B users are on desktops, not mobile devices yet. They will use mobile, but they're mostly searching on desktop. So even if you're in the B2B community, having a keyword research strategy is still important. People have been taught how to ask questions to Google. Now, voice search has changed a lot, and people are asking more natural, questions. Hey Google, what's the capital of Florida? Or those types of questions where Google's going to go and use that query and understand what's going on in their knowledge base to pull that answer back. But we still need to understand that there's this context and relevance that needs to be placed, and keywords are used. We even use that in language. When we talk about language, we don't call them keywords, but we have a theme to the things we're talking about. Otherwise, people don't know what we're talking about. And there's certain terms that are more prominent. You can say the big game all you want, but really people are talking about the Super Bowl. There's a difference, right? So that Super Bowl is a key word in conversation when you're talking about football. So just break that down and step back a little bit like a human being and try to stop, outsmarting the algorithm. You're not going to do that. Another reason that keywords are important is what I talked about with strings to things, right? So a string is a keyword or a combination of words put together. It's a string. And in computer programming or software development, a string is a keyword or a phrase that is inputted in a certain part of a database. And then that string can be related to another string. So like in a relational database, you could have customers, and their name would be a string, right? Not a number, it's a string. Well, Google is helping that string and breaking them down. So now we have string, right? We're going to break those down into person, place, or thing. What they're doing is trying to understand the context of the string. So it doesn't mean that they just ignore strings. It means that they're trying to understand strings from a deeper level. Is this a person? Is this a location? Is this a thing? And they're trying to attach meaning to these strings. They're calling them entities. Now, we look at what Google's doing here and we go, oh, machine learning, AI, this is so cool. Machine learning, AI, natural language processing, none of that works without data input. You have to feed a machine data in order for it to produce an answer or to learn. And the way that we input our data is through content. It's through keywords. It's through context. It's by helping Google understand what our keyword is. It's helping Google understand what this string means and giving them the context around the strings. So keywords are still extremely important because they give us focus and they help us understand where we're headed. Now, keyword ranking and rank tracking, do it moderately. It helps you understand if you're trending in the right direction or not. Data is useful to help point you in the right direction, to know if what you're doing is working. Now, the algorithm is changing, sure. You can change in the rankings during the day. It happens all the time. There's a lot of factors going in. But we can't just rip one part of search out or one part of digital marketing out and assume that all you got to do is write content or all you got to do is, have a pillar strategy. Those are great, but without focus, without this prominence here of helping Google, what they're trying to do is change from strings to things, helping them understand what you're talking about. Feed the beast the right data and help it to understand, make it easier to crawl. And the other thing about this, it's going to help your readers because you're going to have focused content. They're going to know what you're talking about. And then you're going to back it up with all this context and relevance, which builds trust. This is something that's got to go through your entire campaign, not just in SEO, but in your content, in your social, that you're building the right context, you're using the right terms and phraseology that people understand what you're talking about, and then you walk them through this process. Google is an amazing tool. It's one of the most amazing tools that we've built as human beings. I didn't build it, but you know what I'm saying. As the human being, it's a powerful machine, but it's only as good as the data that we put into it. Last week I talked about garbage in, garbage out. Early days of Google, they didn't have the best rankings. It's getting better because there's more information being fed into it. Now, the better that we can help them understand our site, understand the terms that we know the users are searching for, that's why they give us keyword data, because it's still important. So track it, understand what you want to rank for, understand why you want to rank for it, then become authoritative, become relevant, and become trustworthy, creating good content and making sure that you're helping Google in that transition from strings to things by telling them what you're talking about, why it's important, and why readers should also pay attention to your content. So I hope this was some insight into the power of keywords. They are still important. I hope that you take some time to do the research. It takes time to really understand this, but take time, run tests, tweak, and continue to put your best effort forward. Until next time, happy marketing.